talked about this cut shot and lob shot. Ball position basically is much of the determining factor. If the ball is back, it's going to be considered a cut shot. If the ball is forward, near or opposite low point, it's the lob shot. If you open up, you've got an outside-in cut shot. Or if you put the ball off the left heel, under the shoulder for the lob, you've got an outside-in lob shot. That would be a cut lob. If you've got the ball back of center and you're actually swinging just along the line of flight, you've got, when I say along the line of flight, I mean tracing a straight plane line, you've got a straightforward pitch. If you use a vertical hinge, you still have a cut shot, but it's not going to actually physically cut. So
absolutely.
Remember, we're defining a cut shot as anything where that club face is laid back with a vertical hinge.
A little reverse rolling through the golf ball.
Right, but it is important to realize you can have cut lob with the ball back, and, excuse me, a cut shot with the ball back and with the ball opposite the left shoulder, but still tracing an outside-in plane line. It's a cut lob.
Right.
So there's all kind of little variations on the theme with all this business. Now the sand shot basically is a cut shot with a new aiming point.
Absolutely.
Namely not the ball, but a couple inches behind the ball typically.
And what part of that golf club is your mind in, Lynn?
My mind is not in that golf club at all. My mind's in the hands.
You kill it.
Was that a trick question?
Yeah, no. What part of that golf club are you thinking about hitting the sand with?
Oh, the bounce.
Edge or the bounce?
The bounce.
The bounce. And that, you know, how many times have you given a golf lesson and people say, well, I'm digging it, I'm digging it, I'm digging it. Well, get your mind back here. Get the bottom of that club, the bounce of the club, the back of that golf club.
So I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but if I tow this club in, the club, the digger, the front edge of that club is actually digging into the sand. Whereas
it's like a shovel.
And if I open it up, it lays it on its back, tilts that leading edge off the ground, and the ground is now hit with the bounce or the bottom part of the club. That's the whole idea. With a sand shot, you don't want a digging.
Right. You're not using the leading edge in the face of that golf club.
You're bouncing the club off the face of the sand.
Bottom of that golf club.
And it's a motion overall where you heavily dependent on this right forearm at number 3 pressure point. You want to make an aggressive stroke, like Gary Player told me one time. Good bunker shots are played with speed, Lynn. Speed. It is. You see people, they get in and they do a dainty little thing and they leave it in the sand. They don't go through to the desired hand location. By the way, bunker shots just as important as station 3. Where are you going to be? There are sand shots where you're going to want to be out in here with the hands up to your left shoulder, the club shaft well into the air, and there's bunker shots where you're going to be right in here.
Right.
And still, again, this is part of the art form, but it still all comes down to a straight plane line, a club head lag pressure point on the left wrist executing a hinge action.
Absolutely. Bottom line.
Now your basic geometry of a sand shot, if that's your target line, you're going to actually rotate in a tube. You're going to have the whole body set in a slightly open configuration.
Open, just very, 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 very similar to the cut shot.
Correct. So there's your like I said, this is a specialized form of the cut shot. Target line with a plane line set slightly open and a club face typically set square to your target line. Again, in your flat level and vertical left wrist. And you swing along, some people say you swing along your feet line. Well, it's better, more precise to say you always swing along the plane line. That may or may not be your target line. If you have set your plane line on the target line, then yes, you are swinging along the target line and the plane line. However, if you have, for a cut shot, if you have set your plane line across the target line, so out to in, then you swing along the plane line but not the target line. Similarly, if you want to produce a draw, then, which would be unusual out of the sand trap, but you know, at the fairway you would, then you set a plane line that's closed to your target line and you trace that closed plane line.
Right.
So there's 3 plane lines, a square plane line, an open plane line, and a closed plane line. Within each one of those 3 plane lines, there are 3 stances, a square, an open, and a closed. So you could have a straight plane line, a square plane line with a square stance, an open stance, or a closed stance. You could have an open stance with a square stance, a closed stance, and a closed stance, and an open line. Well, the face is irrelevant in this discussion. And we have a closed plane line that we can be square or closed or open to. So there are 9 different plane line, stance line conversations. And with the face, and this is what VJ was referencing, the face of the club, the hinge action can be whichever one you want on any one of those 9 different combinations. So I can execute, let's say, a closed plane line and an open stance with a vertical hinge, a horizontal hinge, and an angled hinge.
Absolutely.
So all these things have their identity. The plane line has its identity, that's the plane. The club face with the hinge action has its identity, and always, always, the lag pressure, the club head being driven as opposed to being thrown, unless that's your intent.
Absolutely.
Trying to whap the ball well up into the air, more so than you could get with a typical lob, then this preservation of the identities of all these things really have their saving grace. You learn to play golf shots you can create your own golf shot at any time you need it, knowing the laws of force and motion and the science that you must comply with in order to produce the result for the shot at hand.
Exactly right.
All right, so the typical shot then in the sand, you will have a target line, a plane line is open to that target line, a club face that is open to your open plane line, and a body that is comparatively, it's not comparatively squared away, but open. The open alignment, not just of the stance, but of the entire body. You then swing along the plane line. The plane line, open, open. The ball is splashed out with the bounce of the club hitting the sand. A very aggressive right forearm in number 3 pressure point. Strike the match. I think that's a good,
that is a good
concept. You strike the match as if there's a match board down here. You got the match, you strike the match. There is no daintiness in this shot.
No.
There's a strike the match.
It's an easy shot in golf too, because you don't have to hit the ball.
Well, you know, I keep hearing that it's an easy shot in golf. You don't have to hit the ball, and yet I keep seeing guys playing a little chip pretty well, and they keep doing this.
Right.
The sand.
Exactly right.
It is. There are many difficulties in the sand. That you do have to have a club face that lays back.
You have to.
You've got to hit the ball with the bounce of the club. You do have to go through it in an authoritative manner, even though you only be going 20, 30, or 40 feet.
Right.
You do have to be able to get the ball up over lip. So I hear it's the easiest shot in golf, but experience tells me other way. There are easier shots. I like that little straightforward pitch, you know, preferably just a tiny bit uphill.